boys and girls, this is Miss Brianne and welcome back to our Let's Get Ready series. And this is a series that's designed for young children in grades pre-kindergarten all the way to 3rd grade. And what this program is that we teach our young elementary school students the skills they need in order to be successful in all the grades of elementary school, especially those early grades where you get to learn everything. And these skills can include anything from print recognition, phonemic awareness, spelling, letter recognition, handwriting, and even those scissor skills. Now this session of Let's Get Ready is for our students who are in kindergarten and who want to learn the skills that they will need in order to be successful in 1st grade next year, as well as for our students who are already in 1st grade who just want a review of what they learned in the previous year. Now we're not really going to have an activity per se this session. What I'm going to be doing is giving you tips on how to find books for your child, so when you visit us here at the library you can use those tips. But before I tell you those, I am going to be reading a couple of stories. Now, as I mentioned before, we're just reading some simple picture books or easy reader books that maybe have a couple of words per page, or maybe even at this point, since we moved up a little bit of a level a couple months ago, 1 sentence per page. Still easy, and they're simple words, very easy to pronounce, easy for your child to follow along, so they can read along if they want. Now I have an easy reader to read to you today that we'll be reading together. It is called 2 Mice. So if you know this, boys and girls, just follow along. Now the author and illustrator of this book is Sergio Ruzzier. Now the author is the person who writes the words to the story, and the illustrator is the person who draws the pictures of the story. Now Sergio Ruzzier did both of those. And then we have the publisher, which is that company that puts the book all together and sends it to the bookstores to sell. And the publisher for this book is Clarion Books, which is an imprint of the Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt publishing company. Alright, with that being said, are we ready to begin? Okay, here we go. So if you know the words, boys and girls, follow along. And you can use the pictures to help you out if you want. 1 house. And we got two mice. What adventures will they have, boys and girls? Well, let's read along to find out. 3 cookies. Let's count the cookies. 1, 2, 3. And like I said, the pictures will help you out immensely with this story, boys and girls. Three boats. So 1, 2, 3. 2 oars. 1, 2. What do you think? Which boat will they choose? And how will they sail if there's only 2 oars? Well, let's read along to find out. 1 rower. Oh, the one who's rowing is not happy because his brother is sitting there doing nothing. That's not good. What do you think they could do to solve the issue? Well, let's read along and see if they go with what the answer is. Oh, Uh-oh, they found something. 1 nest, 2 eggs. 3 ducklings. 1, 2, 3. Looks like there was twins in 1 egg. How cool is that, boys and girls? Three rocks. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. 2 holes. 1, 2. Okay, so there's holes in the bottom of the boat. What do you think will happen, boys and girls? What happens if holes get in the boat? Well, if holes get in the boat, it means it fills with water. And what happens when the boat fills with water? It sinks to the bottom, and that's not good. Let's see what happens. 1 shipwreck, and the boat is sinking, and the mice don't look happy. What do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll swim back to shore and get another boat, or do you think they'll do something else? What do you think, boys and girls? Well, let's read along to find out. 1 island, 2 trees. Take a look at that picture, boys and girls. Do those look like trees to you? What do you think? I don't know. I don't think they look like trees, boys and girls. What do you think they look like? Well, let's keep reading. Three tears. Oh, looks like there's an eagle just grabbed them. That's not good. Looks like they're going to be dinner. What do you think? Do you think they'll escape, boys and girls? Well, let's see. Three beaks, 2 snacks. Uh-oh. What do you think? Do you think they'll get away? Well, let's see. 1 escape. Yeah, it looks like they got away. They ran for it the minute the eagle dropped them. And the babies don't look happy, do they? I don't think so. Well, why don't we turn the page and see where the mice wind up? 1 path, 2 stars. We got a star over here and a star over there. Looks like they're walking along the beach. Very nice time to go for a walk by the beach, huh, boys and girls? Alright, let's find 3 cheers. Oh, they made it back home. 3 carrots. 1, 2, 3. 2 onions. 1, 2. Oh, it looks like they're having dinner. Sounds yummy, doesn't it, boys and girls? 1 soup. And that is the end of the story. So that sounds like a lot of fun. 2 mice brothers go on some cool adventures. It didn't go as planned, but it looks like they made it home safe and sound, and they were glad to be home, huh, boys and girls? So what did you think? Did you like this book, boys and girls? What was your absolute favorite part of the book? And were there any parts of the story you didn't like? And if so, what were they? Well, this is a great book to start reading with, and I certainly hope you enjoyed it. But what do you say? Let's move on to our next book. Now this book, I'm now really going to be it's a little bit more, just a little bit of a story I wanted to read to you. So you don't really have to follow along. And just a nice listen, which is good. Sometimes parents, even though it's nice to have your child read on his or her own, sometimes it's nice to have your child just sit back and listen to a story being read to them, which is what I'm going to do here. Now, the first book I read was about two brothers going on some adventures, and this next book I'm going to read is about father and son going on an adventure. And this book is called Piggy and Dad Go Fishing. So the author of this book is David Martin. The illustrator is Frank Remkiewicz. And the publisher is Candlewick Press. Alright, are we ready to begin? Alright, here we go. Piggy woke up excited. Today he was going fishing with Dad for the very first time. That sounds like a lot of fun, going fishing. Who's ever went fishing before? Some of you may have already gone fishing with your parents, some of you may have not. I'm an adult, boys and girls, and I still haven't tried fishing yet, so don't worry about it. But who has gone fishing? Does it sound like a lot of fun? Sure sounds like it, but let's see what else happens. Dad was already getting the fishing poles ready and making Piggy's favorite lunch. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on squishy bread. Oh, yum. Now all we need are worms, and tonight we'll have the world's most delicious fried fresh fish for supper, said Dad. Try saying that line a few times, boys and girls. So, Piggy dug up worms faster than he could say delicious fried fresh fish. Worms are a good bait for fish, huh, boys and girls? When they got to the river, Dad asked Piggy if he wanted to bait his own hook. Okay, said Piggy. He took a worm and hung it over his hook. The worm wiggled and fell off. Piggy tried again. This time he tied the worm in a knot around the hook. The worm untied itself. That worm's not cooperating, huh, boys and girls? What do you think? Do you think Piggy will get it? Or will he need his dad to help him? Well, let's read along and find out. Piggy, I'm afraid you'll have to poke the hook into the worm. Piggy looked at the worm. The worm smiled at Piggy. Looks like Piggy really doesn't want to do that. I don't know if I'd want to do that, boys and girls. Now, for those of you who've gone fishing, can you use other things as bait besides worms? If so, what do you use for bait? Well, let's see if Dad and Piggy use a different bait. Do you want me to do it? Dad asked. Dad looked at the worm. The worm smiled at Dad. Let's use bread for bait instead, said Dad. So they're not going to be using the worms after all. They're going to use bread, which is basically also as good a bait. So Piggy and Dad pinched bread from their sandwiches, squished it into little balls, and baited their hooks. Then they threw in their lines. What do you think, boys and girls? Do you think they'll catch some fish? What do you think? Well, let's find out. Now, said Dad as he sat down, you have to be very patient. Fishing takes a lot of waiting. A fish has to be hungry. It has to think about eating. It has to find the bait. It has to look at the bait and think about it and say to itself, that looks pretty tasty. It has to nibble a bait and decide if it really is good. Then finally, it has to bite the whole thing, hook and all. But Piggy wasn't good at waiting. He pulled his line out and threw it back in, and pulled it out, and threw it back in again and again. Nothing's happening, he said. You can't hurry fish, said Dad. Looks like Piggy's being a little impatient, huh, boys and girls? Do you think he'll catch fish that way? I don't think so. If Piggy can't wait, he may not be able to catch fish. Do you think he'll ever catch a fish? Well, let's see. Soon, they both fell asleep, but they held on to their poles. Fishing is a long wait, huh, boys and girls? Do you think they'll catch fish, though? Well, let's find out. Suddenly, Piggy's pole bent hard. I got a bite! He shouted. Piggy pulled. The fish pulled. Piggy pulled again. The fish pulled again, too. The fish jumped. Piggy slipped. Dad grabbed Piggy. Dad slipped. But finally, Piggy reeled in his fish. Good job, said Dad. It's a beauty. So Piggy got his first fish. What do you think? Was the wait worth it, boys and girls? Do you think they'll catch more fish? Well, let's see. Piggy smiled, but then he looked at his fish, and his fish was looking right back at him. My fish looks sad, said Piggy. Do you think he really feels sad? I don't know. I never thought about it, said Dad. Piggy and the fish stared at each other. Can I let him go? Said Piggy. Sure, said Dad. So Piggy slipped the fish back into the water. Bye-bye, fishy, said Piggy. Watch out for hooks next time. The fish flipped its tail and was gone. So he captured the fish, but Piggy threw him back in. For those of you who have gone fishing, would you throw the fish back in the water, boys and girls? Well, let's see. While they ate lunch, Piggy made more bread balls and tossed them into the water. "What are you doing?" asked Dad. "I'm fishing," said Piggy. "But you're just feeding the fish," said Dad. "I know. That's because it's a different kind of fishing. You should try it," said Piggy. "Look at all the fish," said Dad. "This is fun. Why didn't I ever think of feed the fish fishing?" That's a lot of fish, huh, boys and girls? Do you think they'll catch them and take them home? What do you think? Well, let's see. The next day, Piggy and Dad went fishing again. As a special treat, Dad brought donuts. Some for Piggy, some for himself, and all the rest for the fish. Looks like they're not even trying to catch the fish this time. But it looks like they're still having fun, huh, boys and girls? Let's see what happens. And that is the end of the story. So Piggy and his father went fishing. And even though they caught fish, it looks like they didn't take any home for dinner. But they still had a good time. And sometimes just doing something very simple leads you to having a good time. You don't have to go on an adventure like the two Mice brothers. But like I said, for those of you who've gone fishing, have you kept your fish or did you throw them back in the water? I mean, some of you may have kept them and some of you may have thrown them back in the water. Both are okay. My brother used to go fishing with our father all the time and they would always throw their fish back in the water. They never kept any. And they would also feed the fish too. Now like I said, I'm a grown up and I've never have yet to go fishing, but I've always fed the fish and I've always fed the ducks too. But anyway, simple adventures are just as fun as the more crazy adventures. And that's what I wanted you guys to take away from these two stories today. I certainly hope you enjoyed them. I certainly enjoyed reading them to you. But before we wrap up for today, parents, this is for you. I'm going to go over some guidelines to helping your child choose a book that's just right for them to read. Now, before I go on, I just want to let you know that the tips I'm going to share with you are from the website, even though a lot of different websites and books have it. These are from the website Reading Eggs. So if you're interested in this as well as other guidelines for reading and literacy, please click on the web link in the video description. Now, as I've always said, this is for everybody. There is 3 types of books in the world. The first group of books are books that are easy. They're very fast, you understand everything, and you can read them very, very, very fast. Those are what we call easy books. The next group of books are challenging books. These are books where you may have trouble reading words, you may have some difficulty understanding what the story is about, and it takes a while just to read through a simple paragraph, let alone, or a simple single page, let alone a whole book. These will take a long time to read. And since you may have difficulty finding out what's going on or what words mean, you may have some difficulty understanding what the whole story was about. Then the third group of books are books that are just right. There are some words or parts of the book that are somewhat challenging, but after a few tries you can grasp it. And it will take some time to read, but you'll be able to read the book in a good amount of time. And you'll understand what the story is about. Now, that category, those is what your child should mostly be reading. Now, there are many ways to find out if a book is too easy, too challenging, or difficult, or if it's just right. Now, this is something I'm going to give to you, and it's just a guideline. This is not the fit-all, tell-all way of choosing books. It's just simple guidelines. You can use this on its own, or you can combine it with other methods. But the guidelines I'm going to share to you is called the 5-finger rule. And what it is basically, you have your child read if your child finds a book they're interested in, have them turn to a random page and start reading it. And for every book, for every word they don't know, they hold up a finger. Now the most they should hold up is 5 fingers. Once they get to 5 fingers, have them stop reading. So they only read 1 page, so the most they'll read is 1 page, or if they hold up 5 fingers. So if they finish the page, you have them stop. If they hold up 5 fingers before they finish the page, you have them stop. Now, if your child reads a page and they don't finishes reading the page and they don't hold up any fingers at all, or they hold up 1 finger, that means the book, they know most of the words in the story, they'll most likely know most of the words in the story, and the book will be too easy for them. Now, if they finish reading the page and they hold up 2 fingers, that means the book will most likely have plenty of words that are a bit challenging for them, and they'll have the ability to learn, give them the ability to learn new words. And this book with 2 words, for the most part, would be just right for your child. It's going to give them a bit of a challenge, but not too difficult, and it will allow them to learn new words in the process. So if they hold up 2 fingers, the book is just right. Now, if your child, and also 2 fingers is good if your child just wants to read, doesn't really want that much of a challenge right now. Now, if your child reads a page and holds up 3 fingers, that means there may be a bit more words that are challenging for them than not. And your child may need help reading the book. With 2 fingers, they'll most likely be able to read on their own. With the 3rd, they may need a little help. But if your child is up for a challenge and they really want to read this book, you can consider this book a just right book. Based on how your child is feeling. If they're up for the challenge, I would say go for it. But just be on hand to help out if needed. Alright, now if your child is finishes reading the page and holds up 4 fingers, this book, there's going to be more words than not that they won't understand, that they'll have trouble with, and it's going to be a little bit too challenging or difficult for your child to read on their own. And if you want your child to read on their own, for that moment in time, I would find a different book. But if you're on hand to help out, and if you don't mind reading along with your child, then you can allow them to try the book. Now, if they finish the page, or if they hold up 5 fingers before they finish reading the page, there's going to be too many challenging words for them, it's going to be too advanced. I would strongly recommend using a different book. So 0, 1 is too easy, 4, 5 is too challenging. So your best bet would be to find books that are with the 2 or 3 finger phase. Now, as I said before, this is just a guideline. This is not set in stone. It's just something that will help you out. Now, is it okay for your child to read easy books? Yeah, it's okay for them to read easy books every once in a while. And I mean it, every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with reading that favorite story every now and again, even though it's way too simple for them now. But sometimes it's nice to go back to those classics from time to time. The key is I wouldn't have them reading books that are too easy all the time. Once that happens, your child, everything's going to go by pretty quickly for them, and they may even start to feel bored, and they may not want to read anymore. So easy books every now and again is okay. Just don't make a habit of it. Is it okay for them to try books that are a bit challenging? Yes. It's okay. That's okay too, to have them read a bit of books that are challenging. Especially if they have this eye on the book that they really, really, really want to read, even though it's a bit difficult. If they really want the challenge, let them go for it. Be on hand to help out if needed. And if they do, and if they're making that effort and they're reading along and they want to keep going, praise them. And just praise them, tell them they're doing a good job, that you're proud of them for learning trying something new, and just encouraging them to keep reading. But the key to this is find books they are interested in. Get books about subjects they're interested in, stories they're interested in. Because if they're reading something they like, they're going to want to keep reading. Now, and hopefully, and if you still haven't struggled with ideas, visit us here at the library. Myself and the other children's librarians are more than happy to help you find a book that you're interested in and what your child needs. Now, when you register, I've given you a copy of these guidelines for you to follow through. And you've also gotten some book lists of books of varying levels for kindergarten. But if you're looking for simpler books or you're looking for more advanced books, please visit us at the library and we're more than happy to help. In any event, I hope you enjoyed today's session. I certainly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to next month. But please, feel free to check out all the other programs in person as well as virtually that myself as well as the other children's librarians here to have to offer here at the Westhampton Free Library. But until next time, this is Miss Brianne saying take good care of yourselves. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.